This will be a basic and hopefully quick rundown of the clips that I just showed you. Now, I filmed these by simply drilling a small 1 centimeter hole into the back of this microwave. This is actually relatively safe to do. If you can find a spot which is usually in the back of the microwave, that you won't be hitting any of the internal electronics of it, you should be fine. Microwaves are designed to contain the radiation they put out, and drilling a small 1 centimeter hole isn't going to make much of a difference. The leakage would be minimal. So, about grapes making plasma in a microwave. Now, grapes are mostly water, and those water molecules reflect and store microwaves, basically acting as a resonator, storing the electromagnetic waves at the center and concentrating them to smaller wavelengths. This strong electromagnetic field that's been formed in and around the grape is often strong enough to rip electrons off of atoms. This produces ions and some loose electrons, ionizing the air with a bright glow. Now, there's two methods that I've seen people go about this, like the whole grape microwave thing. That's either two grapes kind of right next to each other, so long as the skin is touching, it can make plasma. And the other method is they'll sort of cut it in half and leave a little bit of the skin touching. Initially, I used the one where you just cut it in half because what I found that grapes like to roll, and it was kind of hard to keep them in contact while it was moving. Also, it gave a lot more plasma, surprisingly. The method of them kind of just sitting next to each other didn't give as much as I'd like, didn't give much of a bright glow. Specifically with the method that I use, the electrolytes inside of the grape, which are typically potassium and sodium ions, try to jump from one end of the grape to another, which quickly charges the air around it and contributes to the formation of plasma. Now, since potassium and sodium ions are what's being made into plasma, it will show up as a bright yellow color. Sometimes, though, it can show up as a sort of purplish color due to certain wavelengths of light that are emitted during the event. Now that I'm done talking about the grapes, I want to talk about that small piece of metal that was shown in the last clip. To my knowledge, I'm pretty sure the material that little wire was made of is aluminum. Mostly from the color of the plasma that it produced, but also since it was very pliable and sort of soft. It was very easy to cut when I tried to shape it. In these conditions, the color plasma was sort of blue and purple, which is characteristic to aluminum. The yellow that you see, however, must have been from the glass it was on. Turntables, the little plate that spins in the microwave, are typically made of borosilicate glass, which has the ability to withstand high temperatures, it's chemically resistant, and is quite durable. Lots of glassware that you see in labs is also made of this. Borosilicate glass contains a mix of boron, sodium, aluminum, and silica, which, to my knowledge, it also could have been from... I didn't clean the plate well enough, admittedly, after I was done with the grape runs, so there may have been some residue, but it was most likely from the glass or the actual grape remnants. Nile Red actually did post a video about this topic. I think it was called something like the yellow plasma mystery or something like that. I'll throw a picture or a screenshot of it on screen. But what was happening was he would put certain things into a microwave expecting a certain color to come out, depending on what material it was. But he would always get this sort of yellow-looking plasma. Well, during every run, he was putting a beaker over it, which is actually really good because it has the little lip that allows pressure to escape. Super cool. But he ended up finding out it was most likely from the beaker and also possibly from the turntable underneath it, which I thought that was an interesting thing to reference because that's what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's pretty much about it for the video. See ya.